Hi, I'm Jesse. Thanks for pressing play. Today we're talking about Black Widow, all about her history and her origin. If it's your first time here, thanks for subscribing as well. Just so you know, we upload weekly comic book and superhero content. All right, with that out of the way, let's get right into our story here. Natalia Romanova first appeared in 1964 in the 52nd issue of Marvel Comics titled Tales of Suspense. The creative team on that key issue were Don Heck and none other than Stan the Man Lee himself. In these early days of the character, she didn't yet have the sleek black costume that she's known for today. Instead, as a foe to the Avengers, and Black Widow was seen in furs and ball gowns. It wasn't until 6 years later, in Amazing Spider-Man number 86, that Black Widow finally got her skin-tight costume and wrist weaponry. Those gauntlets can disperse tear gas, an electrostatic charge she calls Widow's Bite, and the Widow's Kiss, a weapon developed by Soviet Spetsnaz that render her foes unconscious. This is when her bouffant went from high to a lower shoulder length there. Her name, Natasha Romanova, is also changed from time to time. However, it's a little different given the equivalency factor. Natasha is a diminutive form of Natalia, so it's the same first name, and her last name, Romanova, dropped the gender identification of the A to become Romanoff, so it's Romanoff with 2 F's in the anglicized version. Her last name wasn't revealed until Jerry Conway's run, most likely borrowing her name from the famous noble house, the House of Romanoff. She's also gone through a couple patronyms too, both Alianova and Ivanova, and in Black Widow Coldest War, which is a graphic novel, we see again that she's called Natalia Alianova, but most commonly she's referred to as Natasha Alianova Romanova. As is common in comic books, her actual origin story is shrouded in some mystery, and what we do know of the elusive details of her past have been retconned and updated over the years, but this is how it goes. Natasha, born in Stalingrad, Russia, was from an early age trained to be a covert operative for the Soviet Union. In her movie version, her S.H.I.E.L.D. file agrees that she was born in Stalingrad, but her DOB is November 22nd, 1984. You can attribute that to a sliding timescale. Natasha was raised by Ivan Petrovich, who's the one who trained Natasha to be a covert spy. Ivan, though, wasn't her biological father, more of an adopted father, as Natasha was rescued from the Battle of Stalingrad during World War II, and he took her under his care. In the 1990s, Uncanny X-Men number 268, it was Logan, Steve Rogers, and Petrovich who rescued a young Natasha from Nazis in World War II era Madripoor. Then, in 2006, Black Widow got a solo title, and in that miniseries, her origin was once again updated. Now, Black Widow was brought up by the USSR's KGB Black Widow program in the Red Room. Under the guise of Bolshoi theater, ballet dancers, the Red Room groomed these pseudo-ballerina secret agents in all manner of combat, espionage, infiltration, interrogation, and the various tradecraft that come with covert field ops. The Red Room also experimented with biomedical enhancements and applications akin to the United States' Super Soldier program, or the Weapons Plus program that gave us Weapon X. Advanced healing, slowed RNA decay, and aging, as well as immunity and strength, were some of the augmentations she was given. Sadly, all of the female assassins in the program were rendered sterile, as pregnancy, siblings, and families were something that could be used as leverage against the agent. The agency also developed a pheromonal trigger, able to be applied as easily as something like, say, a perfume, that would render the ability to be violent or even disobedient neutral. A pheromonal locking key is how they described it. And as a side note, people like Omega Red, Bucky Barnes, Nadia Pym, and Elena Belova all have ties to the same Black Widow Red Room program. Her husband Alexei was a Soviet test pilot. They told her that he died, but he was converted to the Red Guardian, which is a Soviet super soldier who actually did eventually die at the hands of the Avengers, so this kind of makes her an actual widow, hence her name. One of her first missions was to kill Anton Vanko, a super soldier with the field name Crimson Dynamo. In the MCU, Anton's son Ivan Vanko attacked Tony Stark, and that took place actually in Iron Man number 2. In the movie and in the comics, Anton worked with Howard Stark on arc reactor technology, so Natasha was actually tasked with infiltrating Stark Industries to get to Anton. And this is why she was in Tales of Suspense number 52, along with Tony Stark, a man whose alter ego, Iron Man, inevitably confronted her. In Tales of Suspense number 57, Natasha met Clint. Here, Black Widow attempts to recruit Hawkeye, and a few issues later succeeds as Hawkeye comes to blows with Iron Man, and this was Tales of Suspense number 60. During this time, she was injured, so Black Widow and Hawkeye retreated from battle, and a few major things happened at this point. During Black Widow's healing, she fell in love with Hawkeye. She also began her defection from the Soviet Union around this time, and at first she wasn't successful as the Red Room captured her again, but she broke free, and in 1973's Avengers number 111, Black Widow becomes the 16th member of the Avengers. A short time later, Nick Fury acquired that pheromonal locking key that I just mentioned that the Red Room had developed, and was able to convince her to work with S.H.I.E.L.D., so she started working as a freelance covert operative. And one time, during a confrontation with Hydra, she was tortured so badly that she forgot who she was. Natasha suddenly thought she was one of her Red Room cover, Nancy Rushman. And that's a name borrowed for Iron Man 2 as she's first introduced to Tony near a boxing ring with the name Natalie Rushman. Her intro to S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU, however, was recounted partially in Captain America Winter Soldier, where she told of a mission to track an Iranian scientist who was shot by Bucky Barnes. And in her early movie S.H.I.E.L.D. days, she was tasked with finding and taking out a biological weapon called Zodiac, which ended up in the hands of an agent named Baker. Will this be the plot of her movie? There's also a period in time reference on a couple of occasions in the MCU which involve Black Widow and Hawkeye on a mission in Budapest. Personally, I'd really like to see that explored in her film. And then during Secret Empire, after many missions with S.H.I.E.L.D., Black Widow hid from Hydra as part of the Resistance. And during issue 7 of Secret Empire, Black Widow was going to shoot Hydra Cap with a sniper rifle when she suddenly saw Miles Morales. She didn't want him to become a killer, so she ran up to stop him, but was hit in the head with Cap's shield, which broke her neck and killed her. While she remained dead, Yelena Belova, a graduate of a Red Room successor program under the Russian GRU, took on the Black Widow mantle. Finally, in 2019, Black Widow again got her own title by Jen and Sylvia Soska, with art by Flaviano. She's back from the dead, there's a darker tone in this debut, and it finds Black Widow in Madripoor with Captain America. Black Widow's been in numerous team books, team-ups, ongoing, and solo titles. Outside of the Avengers, she has 4 miniseries, along with appearing in Marvel Fanfare, Secret Avengers, Champions, Marvel Team-Up, Journey into Mystery, Amazing Adventures, and she even had stories written as novelization by famed sci-fi writer Richard K. Morgan. Lionsgate bought the rights to Black Widow back in 2004 and attempted to bring her to the screen, but those plans fell through. So then we get to Scarlett Johansson, where she first appeared on film in 2010's Iron Man #2, which I was just talking about, making her one of the longest running characters and actors in the billion-dollar MCU franchise. As the second female-led film, Black Widow is finally getting her time in the spotlight. Production on her solo film will reportedly begin in June of 2019. The blurb for the movie says that the film will take place 15 years after the fall of the Soviet Union and follow Black Widow, a freelance operative, as she tries to avoid an assassination order from the KGB. So this time frame would place the movie squarely between the 90s period of Captain Marvel and the mid-2000s period of the first MCU film, Iron Man. It would also set her up with Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. and most likely end with her getting her job at Stark Enterprises under the alias Natalie Rushman. And that, my friends, is the history and origin of Black Widow. Thanks for watching, subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.